Alright, so there is a reason I've been putting off making this video for the past couple of weeks. It's actually a lot harder than I thought to gather all this information, and I'm actually going to try my hardest to throw up some photos of stuff that I'm talking about because I'm not actually in front of the car, so I can't show you like as I talk about it, but I'm going to do my best to insert pictures to hopefully show you guys exactly what I've done. But for 500 subscribers, I've promised that I would kind of go over a price breakdown over every single thing that I've done to the E36 M3 in my last 8 months or so of ownership. So this should be a good video if you're curious, if you've been following the build, or if you're interested in building one of these cars for yourselves. Maybe this video will become helpful to you. If it does, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more. We are already at 525 subscribers, so we're almost, you know, we're making our way to 550, which I am stoked about. So thank you guys so much for the constant support. So as a full disclaimer before this video starts, there's a few prices that may not be the same for you depending on where you buy it from, or, you know, prices fluctuate. Some stuff becomes no longer available. Some stuff will be discounted by the time you see this. And this whole build can be done way, way cheaper. But the only reason I bought basically everything that I'm about to list off brand new is because I know I'm going to keep this car for a while. This is not one of those flips. This is not just solely for Instagram posts or whatever, or making social media posts with it. This car is for me, so getting quality brand new stuff was important to me, and I know that's not everybody's bread and butter, so it can be done a lot cheaper. Just keep that in mind. Don't let this video discourage you when you see the number at the end of the video. Another disclaimer is I'm going to be covering basically all the money that I've put into it, including what it costs for me to register it, what it costs for me to smog it, the maintenance items. This is not just modifications. I will list two separate prices, one with everything that I've done and one with all of the modifications separated. So if you have an E36 M3 and you just want to know exactly what the modifications cost, I will list that price, but I'm going to be going over every single thing that I have done in my ownership. And one final thing, basically the reason I'm making this video is because I've gotten plenty of requests through TikTok and Instagram. People DMing me, sending me messages, asking me how much did you get the car for, or how much did this cost, or where can I get this? So this is just me covering that for you guys, so hopefully that'll clear up the air on some of those questions. And hopefully I won't receive as many of those questions because I've gotten a lot, and that is why I'm making this video. Now this book was kind of a clickbait thing because I've not done all of this maintenance. I received this book when I bought the car, and the only things that I've done, basically I've just added onto the book. So a lot of these receipts are not from my ownership. Basically, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 pages of receipts. I've been trying to collect as many receipts as I can. Every invoice I get, I put it in the binder, but I don't have a printer, and I should just get a printer so I can print out my receipts. But I do log everything I do, so we'll go over that, and that is the list I will be reading off today. Alright, so I've yet to type all of this up. That's why it's handwritten, but I'm just gonna go over everything and just, I don't know, grab something to drink because this is going to be a long one. So this is my 1995 E36 M3 mods and maintenance log. So I purchased a car on July 12th of 2020 for $7,400. I get that question a lot. There is the price. Long story short, I talked the guy down. I was the first one to come see it. I got it for a cheap price because there was plenty of shit wrong with the car that I didn't know about, and the ad was very broad. So I did get a little bit better than what he was asking, but the asking price was pretty cheap anyways. So yes, I talked him down, but $7,400 is what I got the car for. So the very first thing I did was install a Kenwood head unit because I just love music. I have to have it. It's not everybody's first necessity, but the car ran and drove like 2 hours from where I bought it, so I figured everything else could wait as long as I could get some music going. So I installed a head unit. That was $149. That is including the harness that you can get, and I went to Best Buy and they had a harness for a 92 through 99, whatever, the E36 harness, so you don't have to cut up your OEM harness. Definitely do that. The second thing I did was I ordered a whole shifter rebuild kit, and funny enough, I still haven't rebuilt the shifter in the 8 months that I've had it. The car has shitty linkage. It literally is like a Camry. I'm sure if you've watched my videos, you've seen that. But I got the Condor Speed Shop M-Tech boot. So The 𝙤𝙠𝙚 boot and the shorty knob, it's a really cool combination. I'll throw a picture up right now if I have one. It's totally OEM plus in my opinion. There's a little bit of style to it, but to go along with that whole 𝙤𝙠𝙚 theme I have going in the car, that was really good as a first interior modification. And that would run you about $180 because that is including the shift rebuild kit. But again, I still haven't rebuilt that, so it's funny. But that was 180 bucks. Next on the list is the Depot clear corners, the side markers, and the Euro taillights. That was $180 on eBay. They're all OEM Depot stuff. I believe it was probably from some drop shipper, but it is a really, really reasonable price. 180 bucks is pretty good deal for basically the whole light conversion to clears, you know, side markers, clears, and taillights. And there's been nothing wrong with those. I love those. It's definitely my top 5 mod, I swear. For like under 200 bucks, you cannot go wrong with that. In August the 13th, I actually took the car to go get smogged. It failed the first time, and it passed the second time after the cats were warm. The car just sat for too long, and the cats got too cold, so it didn't actually pass smog if the cats weren't doing their job. But I ran around the block a couple times, got it re-smogged while they were still hot, and it passed just fine. $63 for the first one and $54 for the second one. You get a discount when you do it again, whatever. As soon as I got it smogged, the very same day, like an hour later, I went and got the muffler chopped off. Now, you can do this at home for much cheaper, but honestly, for the convenience of having a shop just chop it off for you and weld in some pipes, it's not really rocket science. I know that. It definitely could have been done cheaper, but I got it done for $223. Here's another one that is kind of just fluctuates, depends on who you are, or where you are, I mean. And that was just putting the car in my name. That was $80 or $180 after factoring all the fees. The next thing I did was a combination of stuff. I ordered OEM BMW M3 floor mats, the front bumper grill, which I totally regret because I didn't get an OEM one and it sucks. A rubber boot for the shifter because the Condor kit doesn't come with that, and a little key roundel for your key. And that altogether was $209. I know it sounds like a lot because it is a lot for just those things, but OEM BMW stuff is not cheap. So this next thing is kind of like, I was thinking about putting it in the video, kind of thinking about not putting it in the video because currently these wheels are not on the car, but I'm gonna throw it in there. Just in case you were wondering how much I got my AC Schnitzer Type 2 monoblocks for. I actually traded the stock DS2s that the M3 came on and added 800 bucks on my end, so think of it, I guess 800 bucks plus my wheels for some AC Type 2s. I stole those wheels. I got them from a buddy. Still a good deal. And I still have those wheels, so don't worry. They're just not on the car right now. I won't factor that into the total price because they're just not on the car right now. So then I did a Turner Motorsport shifter rebuild, and I still haven't installed it, but I bought the parts. So I bought the Turner Motorsport shifter rebuild, and I bought Depot clear corners again because I was on the freeway and the clear corners fell out, so you know, they rubbed on the tire and got rubber all over them, so I had to reorder those. For both of those things, it was $143. The next thing I noticed was in the engine bay, there's like the little duct, cooling duct for the alternator. That was all cracked and just destroyed, so I replaced that. That was $13. I went to a shop local to me. My buddy has a shop, a tire shop, and he actually rolls fenders, so I had him roll the fenders. He's very good at it, and again, this is something you can do yourself, but it just makes way more sense to have somebody get it right the first time, especially on my Daytona. It's just like, I don't want to fuck up the quarters. It's worth it to me. It was only $140, and trust me, it makes a world of difference when you're trying to fit you know, big wheels or just any wheels and you're trying to go low. It's definitely a must. I will not pull the fenders or pull the quarters, but rolling that little inner lip is definitely a must do if you're trying to build an E36 M3 and lower it. The next thing I did, and I cannot stress how important this is, but I did the rear shock tower reinforcement plates. I got those actually from Turner, or Condor, along with the MTech brake, e-brake boot, so it matches the shifter boot, and then a Condor Speed Shop banner just for the windshield to get rid of that blue line. I don't regret any of these purchases for the most part, but some of this stuff is kind of silly. That in total was $97. Now, the next thing I did was I bought 𝙡𝙀 clear smoked Euro taillights. If you guys know what those look like, I'll throw a picture. I got these on Facebook Marketplace. Somebody was parting out their build, and I actually picked these up and I got those for $208 on Facebook, shipped to me. All right, now the very next thing I did was order custom BC extreme lows. I got these off of Adam LZ's website, $1,000. I had them built to the spring rate I preferred, which was 8K in the front, 10K in the rear. Now, after installing the coilovers, we noticed that the tie rods were kind of just, you know, they were old, so I decided to order a tie rod kit that came with the boots, inner and outer tie rods, and so it was nice to just swap it all over at once because I went to AutoZone, I believe, or O'Reilly's, and I wanted to get tie rods. It was $150 for one, so I decided to pay $100 for the whole kit from SCP. That was a good one. It's just nice to have new tie rods. Okay, next I bought all brand new lug nuts because they were kind of just seized and gross, and you know, the heads were kind of stripped, so that was $33 for 20 lug nuts. Now after that, I got the driver and passenger interior like door sills, and I got those in black. They're supposed to be gray for the interior, but I figured I'd do black because I got black floor mats. I'm trying to do kind of a black and gray contrast. I know to the purists that is a bad idea, but I like it. It adds contrast to the interior because gray is not my first choice. So anyways, I got those. Those were $90 for both of them. So it's not horrible, but genuine BMW is always going to screw you. After that, after I had installed the coilovers, I had totally forgot to order the front OEM BMW strut reinforcement plates. So I got those, and we installed those after the coilovers were installed. You just put them underneath. Again, cannot stress enough how important that is. It's going to save you a headache in the future. They're not that cheap, or they're not that expensive. They were actually only $40, and it comes with two plates, obviously one for each side. And you get some rears and some fronts, and you're just going to have peace of mind when you're driving or you hit a pothole. You're way less likely to crack that tower. If you know E36s, they are prone to cracking. All right, now after that, I did OEM front hood struts. That was $33. You can get them on Amazon for fucking $12, but I got them OEM, 33 bucks. Not a huge difference, but again, I'm just so butthurt to get OEM stuff sometimes. So I actually paid a friend to do these, to do the helicoil or helicoil rethread kit, because it was just a little bit out of my comfort and skill zone, so I had Cole do that. I paid him $100, and the actual kit was $15, so call it 115 bucks. And the only reason I needed that to be rethreaded is because when we were doing the coilovers, it actually stripped. The bottom bolt for the shock actually stripped in the trailing arm, and instead of replacing the whole trailing arm, we did the helicoil kit. You can always go all the way through, put a nut on the end. I think it's a little janky, but obviously the best thing to do would be to get a whole new trailing arm, but that is kind of just not worth it to me. Maybe I'll touch on that if I pull the whole subframe out, but to replace that one trailing arm when you can just put in one of those helicoils, not a big deal, $115. So then I actually picked up a style of a set of style 66. Those are the wheels that are on the car now. They're the E39 540M Sport wheels, and I got those for 300 bucks. Decent deal, not crazy good, but not crazy expensive because style 66 seemed to be going up in price, which is weird. So the next big thing on this was getting tires for those style 66. Those ended up being $639 from my buddy at the tire shop. Funny enough, that is actually the best price I could find. He did kind of hook it up, but you know, getting 4 brand new tires, performance tires, and getting them in a weird size, it's going to be expensive. So I bit the bullet on that one and just coughed up 640 bucks. So again, that's not really, you can do it a lot cheaper. You can get used tires, you can get way cheaper tires, but I got the Nexen Enfera SU1s, so they've been good so far. Glad I coughed up the money for those. So the next thing I did is I actually went on the DMV website when the custom plates were back in production because of the whole COVID thing. They've kind of been shutting down and you know, reopening that custom vanity plate option. I decided When I saw that it was open, I decided to go ahead and get a custom plate. That was $50. It is still not shown up yet, and I think I did that in, I want to say, October. So it's been a while. Hopefully they'll show up in the next few months or so, so be looking forward to that. Okay, another big expense was the Renown Motorsport wheel, the 100 Motorsport with the M stitching, plus their hub and that horn button. That ended up being $378. I don't feel bad about this one at all. I think the OEM wheel is really ugly. You could always go with an M-Tech wheel, but sourcing an airbag or, you know, the Renown is definitely a good middle ground if you don't want the OEM wheel and you don't want to spend crazy money on an M-Tech wheel. It's definitely that middle ground. And it looks good in the car now, I believe. I'm not a fan of quick release. I'm not a fan of NRG wheels. It's just, to me, it looks a little tacky, so I did as OEM plus as I could with that. Obviously, the ultimate goal is an M-Tech wheel of some sort, but for the moment, this wheel is perfect, and I can always swap it out into another car or sell it later, so it doesn't really hurt that much. So the next thing that I am very stoked about, and I've not destroyed this yet, is the Turner LTW style front lip. They just released these a few months ago. It's 180 bucks. It's a beautiful lip. I really get so many messages strictly about the lip, where I get it. Turner Motorsport, they just came out with it. It's a beautiful lip. I think it's awesome. I think it would look really cool if they did it in carbon. And it's ABS plastic, so if you bash into the concrete really hard, it's probably not going to hold up. But for the most part, I smashed this lip the other day. This is one thing I never get used to on this car is this clutch bite. Oh, this could be bad. Fuck. God damn it. And it definitely cracked the bottom of it, but the exterior of the lip and what you actually see on the car is not damaged. So it's a good lip. It's 180 bucks. Definitely worth the buy. Definitely on my top 5 things, again, for E36 mods. Okay, so we're going to the second page now. It is about a quarter of the size, so we're almost done with all the stuff that I've done. This is actually a shorter list than I thought, reading it all out, but again, I kind of just lumped some stuff together on this log, so not everything is completely spread out. I just kind of put my big orders in one spot, so if that makes sense. So the next thing I did was got an alignment at Les Schwab Tires. They were the people that were able to give me an alignment for a low car. A lot of the places around me did not want to do it, and it's understandable. I don't really want to put my car on a rack. It's pretty hard to get on a rack. I could have done it at work, but just giving it that stance car alignment is not a lot of shops want to do it. The people I work with didn't want to do it, so I took it to Les Schwab. It was 100 bucks, and obviously it's great because the car drives straight. It's definitely necessary after you do tie rods and coilovers. Your car will be way wonky, so just make sure to get an alignment. Okay, so the next thing I did was actually get hub-centric wheel adapter rings. They were $11 on Amazon. You're gonna need these if your center bore on whatever wheels you're running is different from the E36 center bore. The difference was about 2 millimeters, so that little oblong rotation is definitely going to give you some vibrations at higher speeds. When I took the car on the freeway for the first time in a few months, I noticed that, hence me ordering these. Again, $11, you can get plastic or aluminum ones, but it's definitely going to help you because otherwise you're just going to deal with vibrations, and for 11 bucks you can get rid of that problem. So the next thing I did was OEM kidney grills. Now I will admit, I do kind of admit this, it was 140 bucks, and you can get them way cheaper non-OEM, and a lot of people won't notice the difference. Plus they're notorious for falling out, but whatever, I don't feel too bad. OEM grills, just I secured them, they're not going to fall out. 140 bucks, not a huge deal, but you definitely could do that cheaper. All right, the next thing I did was the aftermarket fog lights. Now, the E36 ones are glass, but they do have a tendency to fall out, and actually when I pulled the bumper off, I saw it, they were all held in super janky and just not proper, so I ordered these aftermarket fog lights off of Amazon. They were only $32. I actually ordered these for my last E36, and that's why I ordered them again. I knew they were good, and they're completely clear. The E36 OEM ones, yes, they're OEM, but they kind of just have this haze on them from water getting in there and stuff over time. They just don't look good, and I see it on a lot of people's cars. It's just not my taste. Yes, it's not OEM. Yes, they're only 30 bucks, but on the bright side, if they fall out somehow, it's $30 instead of or however much the OEM ones were. They were over $100, so that's why I want these aftermarket ones. Okay, the next thing I did, and this is a huge maintenance item that I think people really commonly overlook, was I did a complete OEM accessory belt pulley kit. So that was the serpentine belt, the AC belt, the AC shock or whatever tensioner. That was the main drive assembly tensioner, 2 pulleys, and a couple other things I'm forgetting. But that was a big thing because if you got a squeak coming from somewhere and you replace the one pulley, it's already a pain in the ass to get in there, so you might as well just replace it all at the same time. You're going to have a way less likely chance to deal with that issue again. So that was $156. Not a huge price for what you're doing. You're refreshing a lot of stuff, so that's a good deal. You can get it on FCP, lifetime warranty, you guys know all about that. Alright, the next thing I did was the OEM cabin air filter. That was $32. I went down to O'Reilly's, they had an OEM, where they carried OEM. So Cole actually did that for me while I was finishing up the pulleys, whatever, that whole refresh. I'm glad he did it because that's a bitch to do. But another thing, if your blower speed or just the airflow isn't very good, change your cabin air filter. I promise you'll notice a difference. I don't think the cabin air filter had ever been changed because it's so hard to get to. It's under the dash. But yeah, now the blower works a lot better, so I'm glad we did that. It's $32. And the most recent thing I did that I have logged here is a Louis oil change kit, 5W40. That was $80, and obviously it's good to change your oil. Go with Louis fully synthetic. I don't know what the car had in it previously for oil weight, but I've been using 5W40, no issues with it, and I'm probably just going to continue to run that. But that is what I chose, and that is what I'll continue to buy. And fun fact, if you guys don't know this about FCP, again, I'm not affiliated with FCP, but I do like to inform people of the benefits of their website because ECS blows. So FCP, you can actually just bottle up your old oil that you drain from your car into the empty oil canisters or whatever oil that you get. You can send them back to FCP and they will refund you. So if you think about it, you get a free oil change. Or when you're ready, they're just going to send you new oil. So you only have to pay for one oil change, if that makes sense. And that's really if you're willing to bottle it up and ship it out and all that. But I think if you're on a budget, that's a great kind of little hack. And the reason they say they do it is because not a lot of people actually utilize this. So definitely do that. So I know that was a lot of information to take in all at once. I probably talked pretty fast, but I can't have this video be an hour long. So hopefully that got some questions answered. I've been wanting to make this video for a while only because there's going to be a lot more the E36 needs, and there's a lot more stuff I want to do. I would call this kind of like the first iteration of this car, the first, call this the M3 build V1, because like I said, there's so much more to happen to it. There's the look that it's got going on now will be changed up eventually, so I just wanted to document this because I don't think a lot of people talk about it. You see all the cars on Instagram, you don't know how much they cost. Not a lot of people want to talk about how much they cost. And that's fine, but that's why I'm making this video, so hopefully you get a little bit of insight into what it is to own one of these cars, to build one of these cars. As you can, see, I didn't actually do that much maintenance, if you think about it. So most of the money actually ended up in the modifications. So if you think about getting one of these cars, don't be discouraged by the price. Get a solid one. I'm going to be making a video on how to find a solid one and kind of how to scope out an E36 specifically. And I'll be making that video pretty soon here, but that's about all I have to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Be ready for some more E36 M3 content as soon as I get my daily or whatever is coming next. I can actually work on the M3 again because I can't really tear it apart as I have to daily drive it right now, but those videos will be coming very soon, so be stoked for that. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more content, turn post notifications on, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.